couldn't believe it. I mean, again, shocked, appalled, devastated that the President of the United States would talk about any ambassador like that.
You've been watching the testimony all day long right here on Channel 13.
The former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine testifying before the House Intelligence Committee today. This is all part of that ongoing impeachment inquiry hearing.
And our own Scott Swan has been watching this all day long with you as well. Scott, what really happened? What are the takeaways?
Well, the hearing wrapped up about an hour and a half ago, and there was a twist today. President Donald Trump tweeted during this hearing about the diplomat who was testifying. Marie Yovanovitch was the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, a career public servant who testified she was abruptly pulled from her job after a smear campaign against her. And even as she described feeling threatened by President Trump,
as we sit here testifying, the president is attacking you on Twitter.
The president lashed out.
Everywhere Marie Yovanovitch went turned bad.
In what Chairman Schiff considers real-time witness intimidation.
It's very intimidating.
Some of us here take witness intimidation very, very seriously.
The president later firing back.
I have the right to speak. I have freedom of speech, just as other people do. But they've taken away the Republicans' rights.
Yovanovitch also said she was shocked to learn about the July call when President Trump told Ukraine's leader she was bad news and was going to go through some things.
It didn't sound good. It sounded like a threat.
Ambassador Yovanovitch testified the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, led efforts to falsely paint her as disloyal, aiming to clear the way for a shadow foreign policy that could help President Trump politically.
Shady interests the world over have learned how little it takes to remove an American ambassador who does not give them what they want.
Republicans dismissing the ambassador's testimony as an HR matter, arguing she wasn't even on the job anymore when President Trump urged Ukraine's president to announce investigation into Joe Biden and the 2016 election while withholding military aid.
The ambassador is not a material fact witness to anything.
Also today, the White House released a summary of an earlier call between Presidents Trump and Zelensky trying to show he did nothing wrong. But Democrats say one call does not cancel out another. Indiana Congressman Andre Carson serves on the House Intelligence Committee. Here's what the Democrat asked Marie Yovanovitch today.
You are effective at fighting corruption in the Ukraine. Fighting that corruption was important to the national security of the United States, and you were punished for that, ultimately being removed from your post by the President of the United States. So in your opinion, Madam Ambassador, why is it important to have a nonpartisan career in the foreign services?
I think it's important to have a nonpartisan career foreign service office, or service, I should say,
sure.
Because what we do is inherently nonpartisan. It is about our national security interests. It's not about what is good for a particular party at a particular time. It has to be about the greater interests of our security in, frankly, what is an increasingly dangerous world.